the issues affecting Asia's animals, and the stories of the people working on their behalf. We'll be taking you on a tour of what's been happening lately in the animal protection space around Asia and also bringing you updates from our huge network of animal protection organizations and our many working groups. Welcome to the Asia for Animals podcast.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Focus on Farm Animals, a series in the AFA podcast where we talk to advocates for farm animal welfare and diet change advocates all over Asia to hear about their work and perspectives. My name is Vinny and I'm the coordinator for the Farm Animal Coalition. In this episode, my colleague Pavitra caught up with Sarita Joshi of FIAPO at our conference in Kuching, Malaysia back in October 2023. Check it out and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Asia for Animals podcast. My name is Pavitra and I'm a coordinator at the Capacity in Animal Protection Coalition, or CAPC in short, where we provide support to animal protection organizations in Asia through different ways with the ultimate aim of empowering them to maximize their impact for animals. So in today's episode, we will be diving into the world of vegan advocacy at educational institutions. To do so, we have with us today Sarita Joshi from the Federation of Indian Animal Protection Organizations. With over 6 years of experience, Sarita currently leads vegan advocacy and educational institutions outreach campaigns at FIAPO. Holding a master's in biodiversity and conservation, she is dedicated to promoting environmental and animal protection. Off duty, she can be found hanging around her dog Shui and rabbit Bonbon while enjoying painting and exploring philosophical literature. Thank you so much, Sarita, for joining us today. So to start off with the podcast, maybe we can begin with a quick introduction of yourself in your own words and an overview of FIAPO and the program that you're running under it.
Okay, I'm Sarita Joshi. I work at FIAPO, Federation of Indian Animal Protection Organizations, and I've been managing the vegan advocacy campaigns over there for, I think, last 3 years. And before that, I've managed the Stop Slaughter Cruelty campaign, which was like a direct impact campaign. Right now, I think we have one major program where we go with colleges and we work with youth in colleges. We encourage them to learn about veganism, about animal rights, animal sentience. And the reason is that we want to create an ecosystem in universities. We believe a lot of young people come out of universities, and that's where you can put a lot of knowledge and awareness about farmed animals, and they would make educated choices when they come out. But for that to happen, you have to have something where they don't just interact with you for an hour and then go back and forget it. Rather, they should have some kind of an ecosystem in the colleges, which means volunteer groups, which means constant activities happening throughout the year. So what we do is in vegan advocacy, we go to these colleges, we take time with them, and it's kind of like in our session that we do, we talk about farmed animals and we tell them that, either you can go vegan, or what you can do is you can pick up activities from this. You can kind of push for food items to be changed in the menus, in the canteens, cafeterias, mess, or in your events that happen in your college. And you can also learn more and educate other people. And we have tools to do that. We have a lot of interventions that we use for public awareness. And you can use that for your college. And we can even create something new for your college. And you can do it with your other peers in the college, your teachers. If you want more sessions with other people, you tell us, we'll come here again. So we do these sessions in person, and also we do them online. And so far, I think we have done it with about 51 colleges in nearly 2 years now. So we've done these. Actually, this program has gone out to 51 colleges so far, including the IHMs, which are the Hotel Management Institutes. And there we do a little different thing. Like with with regular universities and colleges, we just do awareness programs, and we know that IHMs are like specialized places where you learn about the culinary science and all. So we teach them about the market, the plant-based market, the growth of it, the consumer base that they have and that they need to cater to. So why it is important to learn the plant-based culinary skills. And we get a chef on board. We do a 2-day workshop with them. We tell them all about veganism as well in that. And then on the next day, we get them to do a workshop with a chef. Like he teaches them to make a couple of things, and then they do go innovative on their own dishes, and they make like, I think one batch can create about 300 different dishes. And it's quite fun because then this becomes like a competition. And then like they tell us that, that entire day everybody had vegan meals. And one of the colleges, I wouldn't name, although they have signed a commitment with us, but what they want to do is every month on the last day of the month, because the students only help prepare a lot of food in IHMs, they are willing to completely veganize all meals in the college for everybody. So I don't know how many students that would even be, but just imagine the scale of it. And I think this is why we are trying to do these programs, is to get these things into the curriculum, to get like meal replacements happen in the college food systems also, and at the same time so every college in India, every university has to have some kind of social cause or some kind of cultural groups. Like there are film societies, there are these societies that are from the government funded societies. They are called national service scheme societies, and we go through them because they're originally socially aware, is why the students join them. They like to be part of some kind of social cause, and all we do is we subtly pitch our cause of animals over there, and we say, why don't you pick this? If you have to pick something in society and you want to improve something, why don't you improve the lives of animals? And we start with community animals. But when we talk about community animals, this is my favorite part. What we do is in their sessions on role of youth, we tell them that community animals are not just dogs and cats. There are these cows also. There are these bovine animals that are then left on the roads once they are no use to dairy. And there are those chickens that you see every day in the meat shops. And you see them, but you completely ignore them and you don't realize that they're there. They might be somebody's food and you may be a vegetarian. But what about them? Are they getting food and any sunlight, any water? Would you care to find ways to improve their lives? So we kind of talk about farm animals like that. And once they're a little aware, then we give them a whole session on farm animals and then tell them why you can make the change. So this is how we do this program.
Wow, all of it sounds super impressive, Sarita. And by the sound of it, it seems to be a fairly broad program. How many team members do you have working on it?
With 3 people in the vegan advocacy, there is Shweta Kavishwar. She overall manages the whole bit of it. And there is my teammate Jagriti Kaushik, who's not here at AFA, but I think she's the champion of our team, because she's the one who gets these colleges going, and she can talk. I'm not as good at like getting all of the students to come together. I can do lectures, I can create modules. I'm more good at like aligning resources, getting things done. But she's somebody who's the face of it, because students remember her, and after her sessions, after doing activities, or if they want to do a new activity like a World Vegan Month is coming, and students have already started sending her, we want to do this, we want to make videos like this, we want to do a rally here, we want to do a march here. And she is known to everyone, and she becomes somebody between them, because she's also been part of National Service Scheme when she was in a college, and she's like an alumni for them. So she's kind of that inspiration, and more of her work is to coordinate with these colleges and to get them on board, to help conduct these workshops with them, to get these programs going. Yeah. And I think I should say that we have achieved about 4 MOUs have been signed by 4 different colleges so far, where they do completely veganized meals for their 7-day NSS camps. So these camps are like, they are off-site, they're not in the cities, they go to like villages or towns, and they adopt for 7 days. They'll do a lot of stuff for that village. They'll do like socially good for that village, and in those 7 days, whatever meal will be cooked by these students will be completely vegan. They don't use any dairy, they don't use anything from meat, and they make it completely vegan meals for about 200 students, 3 meals every day, and so many meals then get replaced. And because of this, one of the colleges that was not part of FIAPO network, not part of this Weekend Advocacy work that we do, just got inspired by looking at social media posts, and they're like, we did all vegan meals. Now you come and do a workshop with us. So it's quite fun.
Amazing. It definitely feels like students are reciprocating and engaging with the program, the way that you'd like them to. They also seem to be taking full ownership and, just taking off with the project once you've introduced them to the concept of vegan meal replacement, which I think is inspirational in itself. Also, what's amazing is how much you've achieved in about a year and a half. I mean, reaching out to 50 plus colleges with such a small team is an incredible feat. So congratulations to FIAPO and the entire team for such a huge, for achieving that. Can you just give us a ballpark figure of how many students does reaching out to 50 plus colleges translate to?
Yeah, I think so. In a batch, we have about 70, but we can't really measure how many students does the program reach from these students then as a ripple effect. Or sometimes what happens is we've done a session for, say, semester 1 students or the first year students, and then they ask that, can we call our peers and can we call our friends from different batches, and they're not part of NSS. We just want to open one session for the whole college. We can only check the number of audience that are there in one session and that are completely connected with us. But it goes beyond. My estimate is, I'm sorry, I'm going to say that because right now we have not done our reports and we've not done a total on it. I think we would have more than 4,000 students by now that have seen this. And I think Shweta was sharing a presentation the other day, and she was sharing how I don't, if I remember it correctly, it was 117 or 171 students that went vegan just from one session because they enjoyed.
Thank you so much, Sarita. That's incredibly inspirational. And I'm just going to pause here for a moment to remind the audience that we are recording this podcast at the AFA conference in Kuching, Malaysia. And Sarita, of course, like we also met at the Asia Farm Animal Day conference in Kuala Lumpur, which was held right before this. So I'm just curious to know, how was your experience attending both of these conferences? We are currently surrounded by hundreds of farmed animal welfare advocates. Did you manage to make any relevant connections, any interesting conversations that happened at the conference? And also in line with that, I'm sure there are many people listening to the podcast right now who might be interested in starting an educational outreach program for their own organizations. So would you happen to have any advice for them?
I'll answer the first part first. I have never attended any conferences before except for FIAPO conferences. We only do in India for animals, and we do boot camps. And as much as I enjoyed them, we were organizing them. So there was a lot of work. There would be less networking. And also, I did not know, at the time I was very new in the movement. So I did not know how to go up to people. I'm not a very people person. Shouldn't say that. So in our field, we need to be people persons. Yeah.
I absolutely and completely agree with you on that, Sarita. And I'm pretty sure this feeling is quite common because I've been hearing it from so many people over the last couple of days at the conference. So in my opinion, this should have a podcast on its own as to why and how there are so many people who identify as introverts in the animal welfare movement. But having said that, I feel like both the conferences have done such a great job at creating a safe space for literally everyone, because the apps that have been used allows for people to set up appointments with individuals if they don't want to engage in group activities, etc., or like set up smaller group meetings. Also, being surrounded by so many incredible people, I think you just feel like coming out of your shell, no matter whether or not you're a people person, and just like engage in all the inspiring conversations that have been happening.
Yes. Yeah. So going back to it, so here I think I loved it because I didn't think I could find so many important people who are working in similar programs that I have an interest in. I want to work with school children also. There are people that are working vegan outreach, share their work, how they're working with colleges. And I love how Mahu shared about corporates. And I've been able to talk to these people because some of these things just stay in my head. And I'm like, how do people do that? How do they get to the corporates? How do they get them going for something so big as cage free? I think there's a lot of loss of profit for them because there's like a complete turnaround. And when she shared, and I was just really, really inspired, and I asked her a lot of questions. I have made a lot of new contacts. I actually did not think that coming to this conference would have so much to learn and gain from. But I think I'm kind of really, really happy that I came, because initially I had an injury and I thought maybe I'll not make it. Maybe I'll give my ticket to someone else and I request it. But I'm glad that I did not do that. Yeah, I found like-minded people. I have found inspiration, and I think I have a love for wildlife. That's where I started. I did my master's because I wanted to go into wildlife conservation, and I saw Dr. Jill's presentation and a lot of people who shared about their work for wildlife conservation, and I've realized, you know what, I'm just waiting on it. All I can, like, if I can't completely go out of the farmed animal space, which I don't want to, what I can do is volunteer my time into some of these organizations and learn. And there can be like there's a way to kind of bring the two together, because I used to feel there's a divide when it comes to wildlife conservation and farm animal conservation, because as a conservationist in past also, like I would eat dairy products and I would think that we are doing something for the biodiversity, for the animals. But then when I came to understand about farmed animals, I realized that this doesn't sit well. This doesn't go that you sit in. And I've previously been in a lot of meetings in India where I would be with my colleagues in the wildlife conservation space and we'll be eating farmed animals, and it just doesn't sit well. So where I came from was a divide between the two. But in this conference, I saw that we're talking about animals, and one doesn't have to be speciesist. One does not have to have a divide that, oh, I work for farm animals and I work for wildlife. I can't marry the two together. Farm animal, the whole animal farming bit has also done a lot of damage to biodiversity. Wildlife conservation becomes really, really difficult if we continue to go this way. So I think when there will be these intersections, there are ways to work on it together. And I kind of found opportunities to go and volunteer. I've been speaking with some people in Indonesia, and they shared how they have volunteer programs. In fact, here in Kuching also, I think in Matang, they have there is some center where like they do orangutan conservation, and they said that it is entirely run by volunteers. So they said you can come here anytime. And I'm not much of a traveler. I don't go to any place without purpose. And I think I thought that if there's a reason for me to go to places and learn from different cultures and how indigenous people are so important to wildlife conservation, I could do volunteering, spend my time in my year. Some time I could take out and work from remote areas while working for farm animals too, and find an intersection between the two things. So I think this conference has been like super, super beneficial for me. I think I would not say beneficial. I think it's just been the experience that I was not thinking I'll have. It's shown me a way ahead also, given me a lot of clarity on what I want to do, and where we are and what is needed, as in terms of in India, for the farmed animal work that we do in India, what kind of things are now needed and where my interest lies. As in, everybody has to find their role in the movement. I think I've been able to find mine through this.
Wow, amazing. I'm so happy to hear that, Sarita. And it's incredible how you are talking about volunteering with other organizations despite the hectic yet successful program that you're running. So going back to the program, what are your plans? What are some of the ways that you're thinking about expanding the program further in the future?
Yeah, I think I think we need different, I think we need to work on similar programs, but with all age groups of, like, we can't seclude people saying these are only youth that we can appeal to. I believe that we need to go to schools, and I have now come across material. I'm yet to see a couple of these things that have been shared by very, like, really amazing people over here. They've shared like a lot of stuff that other organizations are doing in different countries on with school children. But I think even in school children, there are age groups, right? So, like, how do you reach a very young audience? The medium would be completely different. It could be like a lot of like illustrated books or something, some stories, some fun stuff. A little further. So I've been thinking that in India, we do need to appeal to school going youth. I think we just need to stop seeing them as children. This is something like I also personally do. That when I interact with a child, I don't think that, oh, they're a child. They can't really influence much, because they are a little adult in making, and they are going to shape at least one organization, a family, something. They are going to make decisions tomorrow, and that tomorrow is not very far. I mean, time flies very fast, and a lot of these children also interact. When we talk about peer pressure, it's through influence. And children talk to each other. They shape each other's minds also. So I believe that we are not appealing in India to the younger audience anywhere. And the ways to probably go to schools, you can even find them outside schools, because now, I mean, there's a diversification of interest, and no parents want their children to just like go to school and come back home. So they're into clubs, and they're into things, they're into like music schools and all, and you'll find this audience everywhere, and they're approachable. It's just, I think we've not been able to create resources that are specific to these age groups, that can talk to them about why it is important to think for animals, why it is important to care for animals and farm animals more so. Because if in that age group, in the prime of somebody's, in their teenage or even before teenage, if you talk to them about these things, a lot of their consciousness is being shaped. A lot of their thoughts around what is good and what is bad is being shaped. Their worldview is being shaped. And if we feed all of this, not like in a gory detail of what happens in the dairies and all, but very subtle stories of how animals can be looked at, not as commodities, but as friends, as adopted family members, as just animals that are around you. You don't need to go and, like somebody was sharing in one of the presentations, our love is either shown as like, I'll go and hug an animal or bring them home, or we just show hate. There's no way to show love where we like, I will let you be in your space and I'll care for you and I'll create room on this planet for you, but I won't try and bring you home. Like, the only way to rescue animals is not to bring them home, like we also talk about this, right? So I think we need to talk about all of these things with children. Like, I'm using the word children, maybe we can call little adults, and we really, really need it, because I don't think in India anybody is talking to them, and we have a potential. We are a young country. We have majority of our population is youth, and I think it will remain like that for a bit, because we also have a lot of people. We are an overpopulated country. we have potential, is what I'm saying, and I think we need to reach out to this audience.
Absolutely. I think you've raised a very important point there, Sarita, that these conversations need to be happening not just with adults, but with people from all age groups, including children. We very often forget the potential or forget the circle of influence that children have, especially on their parents. And as they say, like, empathy should be, taught young, and that's how the social fabric of the society changes.
Yeah, just want to also share, not for this, but just, a lot of empathy building happens when you care for someone else. It could be a human, but it is easier to do that for animals, because with humans, you interact and we speak the same language. We know how to interact with each other. So you also influence my idea of care, how you respond to it. Animals, just like when you start caring for them, they either they want to be you'll learn that they want to safeguard themselves. They don't want to harm you in any way. They just they come to defense when they feel threatened. They just have they have complex emotional responses, but it's very easy to be with them. It's very easy. It's not very complex. Like there's something else here and there's something else in how they're behaving, right? So when children get to interact with animals, and when we tell them that, you can care for them, a lot of crime in society would also go down. I'm not going to say that there is a lot of research on this, but there have been studies where they talk about how criminals, they all start by hurting animals, like really very difficult kind of people. Sociopaths have been studied, and it's about, they've all started as a child somewhere hurting an animal, and nobody cared to say that, oh, don't pinch the dog or don't spit on an animal. That's wrong. I think we need that. I do believe in working for children also, which is why I also believe that we need to go to this younger audience, because all they're learning is competition, getting good grades, becoming all academic, getting a better job, earning better money, and societal pressure is such, wherever you go, it's only going to be a talk around what are you going to become. Nobody says, how do you feel about the little things? Do you have an animal friend? Do you enjoy interacting? What kind of friends do you have? In fact, when we talk about friendship, I was listening to somebody, I don't know, in a talk in India, probably somewhere, and they were saying that we don't ask children that, who's your friend? We say, oh, what does his parents do or her parents do? Oh, where they come from. We try and we kind of put everybody in a social strata of, okay, financially they're capable. Oh, my child should be a friend with them. Animals don't come with all of that. They don't come with accolades and all of those things. If we would encourage children to make friends and allies of animals, half of these things, parents can't even ask a question like that. They just go. So I think this helps character building also for children. So I think it is important in both ways. I mean, you can't just be working for animals and be secluding humans also, right?
Definitely, we're all part of the same world, and I think we as humans need to stop looking at things from this anthropocentric view and keeping ourselves at the center of the world. And I'm sure a lot of things will fall into place. And with that, we've come to the end of this podcast, everyone. Thank you so much, Sarita, for your time and for all the amazing work that you're doing for the animals. Keep inspiring, especially keep inspiring children. And yeah, all the very best for the future. Thanks for listening. You can find everything you need to know about our work and connect with us at asiaforanimals.com. Tune in for the next episode. Asia for Animals Coalition, a united voice for Asia's animals.